What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sam the Beard Guy channel. So today I wanted to talk about my top 5 favorite MIDI controllers. So these are going to be controllers that are really just for MIDI. I'm not going to be recommending something like the Nord, or a really nice, you name product, whatever. These are really just controllers that are primarily for MIDI piano. They maybe have some onboard built-in sounds, but these are mainly just MIDI pianos. These are all pianos that I have used a ton, so I'm not just Googling stuff and going, yeah, just use this one. Like, these are all that I've used for years or an extensive period of time. And so, yeah, let's get into it. There's going to be links below for all these keyboards if you want to check them out. But these are my top 5 favorites. Hey, y'all, if y'all like the content on this channel, make sure to check out my website. I've got a lot of fun things on there. I've got some Noir preset packs, some Omnisphere packs, some drum loops. I've got other stuff. I've got tutorial courses. I've got links to my music and an email if you want to hire me for something or whatever. I've got a lot of stuff on my website, so make sure to go to samgarnermusic.com if you want to check out some of the stuff. Also, my Patreon if you're interested in checking that out. As always, thank y'all for the support. Let's keep going. First one that I want to talk about is the one that y'all have seen a million times in all my videos, which is the Korg D1. I have been using this thing for a long time. It's not the first keyboard I had in the studio, but it's the one I've had the longest. We'll talk about why I got rid of the other one here in a bit, but the Korg D1 is awesome. And so it is very lean. It doesn't have a lot of features. What it has is great action. It's super slim, so it fits on this sliding tray really nicely, which is actually the reason why I got it over the other keyboard. It's using the RH3 keybed action, which I might mention actions in this video. It's not important. If you want to go look it up, you can, but that's what it's called. It's the RH3 action. This thing is, it feels great. The one thing I'll say about the feel is it maybe runs 5% too light. And so there have been times after I record that I'll scale back the MIDI velocity, maybe 5 to 10%. But it's super nuanced. You might not even care, but it feels like the keys are maybe sometimes a little light, and so especially on the higher end, so I'll trim back the velocities a little bit. But you also don't have to do that. That's just kind of, it might just be the genre in which I'm operating. The other complaint, not even a complaint, but the other thing to notice about this keyboard is it only has 5-pin MIDI. So if you have been using MIDI to USB or USB over MIDI for however long, you might, have to use or get a little adapter. The adapters are $20 to $50 depending on how nice you want to go. So if you're already spending $1,000 on a keyboard, you might as well get the adapter. I don't think having to get an adapter is worth, not getting this keyboard. But this thing has no frills. It has, some onboard sounds, which I've used like 3 times maybe when I was in a bind. But I don't own this thing for the onboard sounds. And neither should you, because there are better options, and that's why you want it. This thing it just feels great. I've used it forever. So yeah, weighted hammer RH3, compact and portable. It is super light. I could carry this thing with one arm for an hour if I needed to. It's super light. So if you want this thing, go check it out. I love it. I highly recommend it, and I recommend it all the time. The thing that I used to own before this is the M-Audio Hammer 88. So I'll just show you why I had to get rid of it. This thing is a thick boy, so the back end of this thing is huge, so it wouldn't fit on my desk. So what I was doing was I was leaning it up against the wall, and then I would put it on my tray, record, unplug it, put it back up against. It's just way too much work. So I got rid of it. This thing is half the cost, and it feels just as good to me. It has no onboard sounds, I'm pretty sure. I haven't played it in 2 or 3 years, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any onboard sounds. And so this thing is half the cost. So if it's like, hey, which one do I get? If money is a thing, maybe you get this guy. because it's half the cost and it feels awesome, but it is super thick. So it might not be able to fit on your tray, but it does MIDI over USB too. So, there's kind of a balance here of what you want. If you do want some onboard sound capabilities, you can't get this one because it doesn't have it. So, it depends on what your needs are, but I do love this thing genuinely. I was super sad to get rid of it. I really was attached to it. But it's just too thick. It's just too fat in the rear, It just wouldn't fit. Even when you remove the pegs on the bottom. So, to each his own. The next keyboard that I want to talk about, this is going to feel probably out of place, but it is the Arturia KeyLab 88 Mark III 88 key weighted hammer action keyboard controller. This has the worst action of all the 5 options that I'm recommending, but what it does have is the bells and whistles. So I am a piano player through and through. It's what I grew up doing. I grew up playing on real pianos. So my natural inclination is going to be, hey, I want, real feeling keyboards. But there are times where I do want, some faders and some buttons and some, tweak on a screen. And that's what I have over here. They sent this to me a few months ago, and I've genuinely been enjoying using it. But it doesn't have the best feel. So what I find myself going to for this is if I want to play a synth or an organ, but I do want the bells and whistles, like the faders, right here to kind of tweak some parameters live while I'm playing. Or if I want to, trigger some stuff, I will reach over to this and play it on this because this thing, the Korg D1, has none of that. But this thing doesn't have great action. It's not a great feeling keyboard. So if you're like, hey, I want a realistic piano, don't get this because it's not gonna give that to you. But I'm a piano player. Like at the end of the day, I'm a pianist first, and so if you need a hybrid, like if you're like a Sunday morning situation where it's like, hey, I need the heavyweight action because this thing is heavy weighted. If I want the heavyweight, but I need the bells and whistles because I don't want to bring a MIDI controller, this could give it to you. And I think for what it is, which is $1,000 for a hybrid of realistic MIDI feel and buttons and knobs and bells and whistles, this thing has a lot to offer. But again, if you're just looking for a piano feel, don't get this because there's a better option at $1,000 and an even better option at a cheaper price. But this thing integrates with the Arturia synths really nicely. So if you're using a lot of Arturia synths, this thing is sick. I will use it a lot with just the Arturia KeyLab or the Arturia V or 5 collection. So this is an option. It might feel out of place because it's not like a piano, but I do use it a lot and it feels great. The next thing I want to talk about is the Roland FP60. So the Roland FP60 and the FP90 are kind of two peas in a pod, kind of cut from the same cloth, same company. I have long been a Roland fan. It is the first keyboard that I really ever owned. I owned a Roland RD2000 or 200, no, RD700 back in the day. It's actually that keyboard leaning up against this wall right here. I got it in the year 2001 when I was in the 5th grade. I've had it forever. I love Roland keyboards. So this thing feels awesome. I have recorded probably 100 songs, if not more, on the FP60 or the FP90. The Worship Initiative studio that I work with them a lot. They have these keyboards, so I've recorded a ton on these. So what's cool about these is there's built-in speakers. Built-in speakers, obviously you're not going to record built-in speakers, but if you just want to like get around a piano and share some ideas and just have that ability, these two keyboards have that. They have some onboard sounds. I don't ever use them, but the key bed feels incredible. So this has the PHA-4. The FP90 has the PHA-50, the PHA-50 being a little bit better. The PHA-50 being, I'll just read what it says, combines wood and molded materials for superior feel and durability, where the FP60 uses the PH4 which is progressive hammer action. So there's slightly different actions, but they both feel great. They both have onboard speakers. They both have onboard sounds. They have MIDI functionality. The big difference is $2,300 versus $1,100. So there is a difference in price there, and you are paying for the premium action. I would say of the 5 keyboards, the FP90 probably has the best action on it, but you're paying for that significantly more. So the action on it is incredible, but it's twice the cost of even the most expensive second option. And so do I think that's worth it? For me, probably not. Even though I'm a piano player through and through, I am never finding myself going, man, I need the most premium piano feel ever. But if money wasn't as much of an issue for, me and probably for you, then, I would probably get it. And if I was a company, I would buy it. This is a great option for like a church that just needs a really good MIDI keyboard. I would get this over the Nord any day. I would paint this red before I went and bought a Nord just to be used as a MIDI controller. And so this thing feels great. So the way I'd rank them, FP90 is probably the best feeling one, but it's so expensive. So if the ranking being like just realistic hammer action feel without price being a factor, the FP90 is the most premium and it feels the best. I'd give the Korg D1 and the Hammer 88 and the FP60. I'd probably give them tied for second. I can make a case for on any given day why any of them would maybe edge out the other two, but they all just they have their own little quirks, but they all feel close enough to be comfortable on. I could literally convince myself, today the FP60, tomorrow would be the Hammer, and then the day after it's the Korg D1. So they all feel similar. They all have slight quirks, but they all feel great. And then obviously the KeyLab is the worst one. There's nothing about it that feels super realistic, but it is heavy weighted, but it has all the bells and whistles. If I had to say what's the best value, I'm probably going Korg D1. Yeah, I'm going with these 3 here in the middle. Korg D1, FP60, they have onboard sounds. This one has a built-in speaker. So you're getting really good action. You're getting some built-in sounds. M-Audio Hammer 88's your cheapest option, but it still feels incredible. And so all of these are strong options. Again, this is not a realistic piano. It's just heavy weighted. It's a little spongy, but it's heavy weighted, gives you all the bells and whistles. So that's how I'd rank these. All these are going to be linked below, so make sure to check them out if you want to maybe buy one of these. As always, thank you for liking and sharing and subbing and following, and I will see y'all later.